Okay, I now have that off. Okay. Okay, guys, let's change this picture. See if I can see something normal. Yeah, there we go. Hey. Okay, so that was a little Fender Mustang bass. I never play that thing. That was kind of fun to play, though. It's so gigantic. Uh, all right. So, hi. And I'm trying to get my mouse. Come here, mouse. There you are. There he is. Okay, great. Well, hi guys, this is Mark Black. This is Mark Teaches Music, and this is our live stream answering questions about music. Any question in the world about music? Let me turn this up some more to make it even louder. How loud can it go? How loud can you go? Pretty loud. So, answering all your questions about music, and so you can ask anything in the world. Let me pull that thing back up here so I can see your questions. There, I see it now. So anyway, let's see what I want to tell you. This is the 12th day of October. This is 2022. You're probably all surprised about that, but that is true nonetheless. It is the 12th day of October. I'm certainly surprised. Wasn't expecting anything like that this quick. Seemed to be a little ahead of the game. And let's open this bigger so I can see. There we go. So in this, I try to answer all your questions about music, and of course, no one can answer everyone's questions, and a bunch of questions I just have to say I do not know. And I'm not trying to, not in a rude way, I'm not trying to answer trivia questions. I'm trying to answer questions about learning, performing, how to develop skills, how you're. It's just fascinating to me. Over the last 20 years, I've been playing. It depends on what you count playing officially since '68. Very strange. 68, saxophone in the marching band. And so it's fascinating. About 20 years ago, started really understanding more, needing to understand more about how people's personalities, how they think and approach, and what is success to them, and how would they go about fixing a problem, and what would they say, wow, that was a great performance, that kind of stuff. How that stuff affects everything, and that's something I can answer questions about. And being in ensembles, various classical, jazz, rock, Christian, being in a worship band, blah blah blah. So anyway, if you need information about lessons, go to www.dallasmusiclessons.com, and there's stuff about me there, and ways to contact us about lessons. And then if you have any questions, of course, right now, put them in this chat thing right here. And if it's after, you're looking at this after, send me an email at mark@dallasmusiclessons.com. Mark@dallasmusiclessons.com. And I want you to jump right in and send me your questions. And feel like a telethon. The lines are open over here. So anyway, so just put them in the chat, and I'll get to them. And like I said, I reserve the right to say I don't know. So if you like this, you need to, as you need to donate. You need to actually, I've said before, you need to put me in your will. You need to hit the subscribe button. You need to hit the notification bell. You really need to share this with people. Share this with friends, and that's a great thing to do. So, that was I enjoyed that. Messed up some things, but still that was fun. Bass is such a interesting it played like that. I'm talking about like it's a solo, or I don't know. Things about it seem mystical and mysterious and thoughtful. So okay, so here's let's see. Here's our first question from this week, and here it is. Let's say, so how much should I trust my teacher with my musical development? How much should I trust my teacher with my music development? And just let me say, it doesn't matter who your teacher is. Um, just incredible. And there's all kind of different good teachers. There's teachers that are really good because they're friendly. There's teachers that are not so friendly, but my gosh, they know so much about music. There's teachers that, they know a lot about music. Maybe they're not friendly. They are, but they can really help you. They really know how to get in there and nuts and bolts and figure things out. They got the teacher with great connections, all kinds of things. And of course, the perfect teacher would have all those things, great connections, great personality, great plan for you, on and on and on. But you cannot, if anybody's watching this, you need to listen. No matter how good your teacher is, you cannot entirely entrust your musical future to that person, in the sense that, whatever they tell me is what I need to do, and what they tell me is the only thing I need to do. That's the only thing, what they say. If they said this, I'll do it. You know, uh, and not because you're a teacher, or including me as your teacher, that teacher is a conniving. I tell all my students I mess up teaching one thing wrong, so they have to keep coming back for lessons. But so even if your teacher's doing stuff like that, I'm kidding, he's not doing that. But the idea is that if you're no matter how great your teacher is, she cannot cover everything, cannot know everything, cannot know your secret learning yearnings to play flamenco, even though what you said the whole time was, I want to play death metal, and then somehow they're supposed to know that. Or they can't, like how, and this is a real question, how important is going to live performances? How important is listening to other people's music? How important are scales? How important are various exercises that could help you? That balance of finding those things, and of course, a good teacher is pondering those things and trying to say, but that person, no person can know that perfectly. Boy, they just got it together. And I want to say that music school, when I was in music school at Loyola University in New Orleans, music school, I'm saying, multiple classes in the week, multiple kinds of ensembles, multiple interactions, many interactions, many things to do. And that could not supply all of the things that are needed. I remember, and I've said this in different things, but I remember being in a seminar with Marion McPartland, I think it's her name, a female jazz pianist. And this is in '76, and it was just very. She played some, and she talked probably an hour or something, and she probably played half the time and talked half the time, and it was just I don't remember specifically what I learned from that, but just seeing the Basie band live, stuff like that in Kansas City, I think. Again, back in the '70s, it's like, wow, those things are really impactful. Going to the Dallas Symphony and listening to them play, listening to Christopher Parkman play with them. And I'm just guess one tiny aspect, live performances. And that includes watching, I was just going to mention Silk Sonic, on YouTube. It's like, whoa, those guys are so tight, and that their concept, what they're trying to get over is so, wow, just big. So anyway, all I'm getting at is that a person, you can't fathom what you want in a lot of areas, And so that person who's helping you could be your best friend. It could be the world's greatest teacher. They can't figure everything out. So you've got to, at minimum, stay monitoring, what is going on. And I don't mean it. I mean, what I want to do, well, I wish I could have done and found, but there is nobody like this. It's just go to one dude or one dudette and be like, here's my life, my musical life, fix me, and they would say everything, and everything they said was right, and they said all the things. They didn't just say, I needed 10 things, and they told me the right thing for 5 things. No, I needed 10 things, and they told me the right thing for 10 things, and so I was perfectly equipped. But that is not possible. So don't go to your teacher like that. And if your teacher is a great teacher, you can talk to them about things, and talk about things they don't know about, and they should be willing to say, I really don't know a lot about this, or here's my thinking on this. Some people disagree, uh, just for example. I'm not, so I'm just saying, you hold the master, you are the navigator, and you're trusting your teacher to be wise, but they can't know everything. Okay, so just remember that. It's very important seriously, it's important to know that. Okay, so let's see. All right, so the next thing here is, so this is a great question. So I am not naturally passionate and excitable. Who knew, huh? Do I have to dance around on stage and stuff? Okay, so I'm not naturally passionate and excitable. Do I have to dance around on stage and stuff? Uh, well, if you're performing live, you have to do something, because you are like me right now. So I'm communicating in two mediums, actually two media. Medium is one, right? Media is plural. Okay, is that right? I think so. Anyway, so you're communicating two media. One is the sound, the way this guy talks in his voice, and the other is how he looks. And so if I look, like I was going to say I'm missing a tooth, but I'm missing about 100 teeth. So, but anyway, so I'm saying if the guy looks like a bum, the guy looks like he doesn't know what he's doing. Obviously I got this stuff in the back to look like, hey, you know what I'm talking about. You know, I'm trying not to look too bad physically. And try to get a good sound, sound of my voice and all kinds of different stuff. What I'm getting at is that I'm communicating in a visual medium, and I'm communicating in an oral medium, a sound medium. So when you're playing music, if it's live or recorded, visual, if there's a recording there of any type, there's a visual medium, and those two mediums must match. So if you're doing this, it's like this. We're just getting down. Now, just to mention, this Sunday is we have concerts with all of our students and bands and stuff twice a year, and so this Sunday is going to be 3 different concerts, and it's going to be about 3 hours of music. And so anyway, the point is. You're going to see a lot of people do this. They're going to song. They're like doing a great job singing or playing, but their face is like this. So they're going like something like, anyway, here's the song we're going to do. So it's like they're going to be going like this. They're going to be like, looking back on when I was a little nappy-headed boy, when my only worry was for Christmas what would be my toy. So their face is just going like, this is unimportant, stupid, unexciting, unengaging. Where the music and perhaps their own voice or their own instrument stuff is exciting and dramatic and powerful and stuff like that. And so what they're getting is 2 messages. They're getting the message of, this is great and you need to do it and you need to engage in what I'm doing. And they're getting the message of, this is boring and this is stupid and I don't really care about this at all. So yes, you do have to, if you are performing live, you have to make your video or live performance. You've got to make it engaging. You've got to make it like that, this is exciting, this is dramatic. Now I want to give you some tips, some ideas about that. For one thing, and again, nobody believes it's not, I've spent many decades trying to not act like it, but I am quite the introvert, quite the go away and leave me alone because I just want to sit here and read a book. And so here's a tip for you, trying to develop that. Do you have to be like, I don't know, do you have to be like Bruno Mars on stage? What you should do is go to YouTube where you can see lots of performances. Look at performances of the songs that you like, and the ones that you identify with. I'm talking about not the song, not the music, but so-and-so performing, including a good idea is to look at covers of songs. Because for example, if I know how you guys are all into Britney Spears, but if you're looking at a Britney Spears video, you might be like, well, she's got 8 dancers, and so I don't have that, so I can't do it. So you could look at a cover, and it's just some chick singing and playing or whatever, or guy, singing and playing her song, and say, how did that guy do that? So you look at other videos or performances, live performances. Live is the thing to look at, even though a scripted one it'll give you insight, but on the other hand, it's like, well, I don't know if they could replicate what we saw on a video as opposed to their live performance. I don't know if they could do that, because they had effects or they had things that they couldn't do. So anyway, you look at live performances and of songs you love, and the ones you identify with, you say that looks cool. Yeah, that is neat, And that could be the craziest running around upside down, hanging from the chandelier, and that could be somebody going, look in my face. You get somebody going, looking back on when I was a little nappy-headed boy. And he just looks like he's not dancing or anything, but he's just like, this is the coolest thing. This is the best thing. When my only worry was a Christmas, what would be my toy? I'd be like, this is cool. This is exciting. I'm excited. I, the performer, am excited about this and into this. So you find performances that look like you like. You think that is cool, and that's not too much, or it's not too little. It just fits. I like that, and then start doing things like that. And so think about Britney Spears. Think about um, Vanilla Ice. Think about Silk Sonic, and those guys in their videos, not the live performances, but some of them are live too. The point is, there's of course they practice those moves. They didn't, they figured out all these things they're going to do. So when you are watching that person, let's say they're not doing any moves, they just feel sincere. Let's say it's Sarah McLachlan, and it's all like, oh, I'm approving the emotion. I'm not mocking. It's just like, oh, it's so serious, so true. Oh, So you go like that's how I want to do it. So watch what that person does and pick up some of the things that they do and practice them. I'm going to look over here and I'm going to do my eyes, and I'm going to pull back out and I'm going to look over here and I'm going to look down at my hands. I'm playing the piano. Like figure out a bunch of little moves or a bunch of huge moves, depending on what you liked, and start practicing those and start incorporating them into your performances. And again, we're talking about live visual performances. Now, and again, we're talking about certain kind of things. So if you're the concert master in an orchestra, no, you're not supposed to be spinning around. Obviously, we're not saying that. So each genre has an expectation. So as an example, a bluegrass band would have a much lower visual engagement than I don't know, Lil Wayne or something. So I'm just saying, like a bluegrass band would be like, we're playing, we're singing, this is really true, this is coming out of my heart, and then there'd be this face, and we're into it. But not, here's our moves, let's do choreographed, mandolin and guitar and double bass. So anyway, so I'm saying, as appropriate to the kind of music you like. Look at things that people do that you like. Practice these simple things you see them do. I could do that. I could do that. I could step over here. I could move over there. I could turn it that way. I could point like this with my hand. I could go like this while I'm singing. None of this has to be attractive to you. I'm talking about live performances. So you want to match your music. If the music is beautiful and heart-rending, then you want to be. So you want to go. You don't have to do this, okay? But you want to go near, far. I hate this song. Wherever you are, it's just like, oh my gosh, he died or whatever. And so you want to look like that because that's what your mouth is saying. Your notes are saying that, and your words are saying that. So you got to look the same way. You got to agree. And just as a bonus, passionate performance helps you perform better. And I'm just commenting if you're having trouble getting in the rhythm and being powerful in your rhythmic, and talking about it's kind of not that interesting, kind of flaccid, kind of like, talking about how you sound, and you don't want to sound like that. Try getting into it. Try to go for it. Try to go, man, I'm going to make this really exciting, physically, not mentally. Man, this is really exciting. Oh yeah. Not that. No, in the real world, in the physical world, try being more passionate. I'm just commenting on the side, you're having trouble with the power of your performance, try to get more physically involved, more passionately perform. And in the studio, just want to say, it's kind of a mix, just talking about, you go to see somebody in the studio. So some people are just going to, be definitely a lower standard of dress. So it could be people in their pajamas or whatever, could be. And then some people we just playing like, just look normal. And some people who do totally the whole, I'm really, this is good. This is a positive thing I'm saying. And they're using that involvement to make a passionate performance. And again, it kind of devolves from the most important instrument, which has a typical thing, not everything, but as a typical thing would be, the lead vocal. The lead vocal is like, wow, that lead vocal, that's the point. And of course, we're talking about certain kinds of music. So that guy needs to be really exciting. And then maybe the soloist, single solo, play the solo. Those guys are, really trying to make this exciting. Not just playing, but like making it powerful. And then your bass player, your drummer, they're like accurate. I mean, passionate, but it's like I don't have to add the craziness. I'm not countering what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that back on this thing about the passion passionate physical engagement, making your performance better uh, by helping you get into the music more. That is perhaps less, maybe it's already there on those more fundamental instruments. And as we come up the ladder from the rhythm section to the solo instruments to the soloist, we would just really require a lot of passion from those and get that. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking about that. So the visual performance has to match the oral, what we hear. Okay, now let's see. Here's one. If you're lost in the woods, who would you trust for directions? Would you trust an in-tune tenor sax player? Would you trust an out-of-tune tenor sax player? Or would you trust Santa Claus? Who would you trust? In-tune sax player, out-of-tune sax player, or Santa Claus? Obviously, you would trust the out-of-tune sax player because the other two indicate that you're hallucinating. So if you thought, the in-tune sax player or Santa Claus, that's obviously a hallucination. Only the out-of-tune tenor sax player could be real. Okay, so there we go. There's that. Okay, now, this is a good question. Let me check over here real quick. All right. And here's the question. What guitar and bass patterns are easiest for playing Dorian mode? And we're going to talk about modes. Everybody talks about modes, and I'm not being rude. They're very simple, and hardly anything. I mean, they're cool, but there's hardly anything to them. And it's not very hard to do, but it's like, probably I have I don't know 10 books about it, and there's probably 2, 3, 400 about it in something that's really very simple. So we want to just talk about it a little bit in the sense that kind of covering the bases so people feel like they're equipped. So first off, just as a statement, I want to play in Dorian is a minor scale. It's a minor sound. Da 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 da. That's the sound with a raised sixth. And I'm not going to go into it because I've written about it and talked about it a bunch. And we'll come back to it. You can ask a question about it and I'll answer. Because that's the kind of guy I am. But so just again, real snapshot. I want to play an A minor. I can use another way instead of raising the sixth scale is to use the major scale a whole step lower. So I want to play an A minor. I use the notes of the G major scale. I want to play in G minor. I use the notes of the F major scale. I want to play in B flat minor. I use the notes of the A flat, a whole step lower, A flat major scale. That's another thing to do. Now, it just so happens that on fretted instruments, actually anything with a fret fingerboard, would include the violins and viola and cello and double bass. Could go on. Something else, the viol and bass viol. So we could go on forever about that. But that just so happens that the way those notes are laid out is that we all know that if you played more than 2, 3, or 4 scales, you're in band or something. That the A scale is the same intervals as the B scale, is the same intervals as the B flat scale, whole half, whole half. So this sound da 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 is a set number of whole steps and half steps, and the Dorian minor scale sound da 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 da. So that's a whole step da da da. No. Da 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 da. Yeah. So it's a set number of whole steps and half steps. So anyway, meaning it's mathematical. So it so happens that on those instruments with fingerboards, that the different number of patterns depending on the length of the number of frets and blah 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 on the fretboard. But it so happens that you can play a certain shape, a certain group of notes. And we could call them patterns. And you could play every scale with one pattern. C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, just all of them. So anyway, just to say real quick, it just so happens this is only for this very not very small, but in terms of number of instruments, whatever instruments with fingerboards, that a pattern will naturally be, without having to make any transition, will naturally be in a certain key. And this pattern, the second major pattern, which is not something I would have students that know this pattern that I've taught this. This is just my names for these patterns. I did not invent these patterns in no sense. Lots of people play these patterns. I just don't know anybody else using those names. And the second major pattern would be this. I'm starting this one. I don't hear any sound, so let's make this come on and make this guy. There we go. So the second major pattern. I'm not teaching you the pattern. You have to know the pattern already, but I'm just letting you see this. Yeah. So if I had a track, I didn't prepare for this. I wasn't prepared for this, I guess I should say. So let me just fling something in A minor sound behind us. So anyway, look, the statement is, what for these instruments, guitar, bass, what pattern would instantly go in Dorian minor? That would be the second major pattern. I want to play an A minor. I put my first finger right there and play the A second major pattern. I want to play in F Dorian minor. I put my finger on F. I want to play in B Dorian minor. I put my finger on B and play. And that would be the key. Now we're going to find, hopefully, give me 1 second, see if I can do this. That would be so great. Well, I'm going to grab some jazz then. And it's coming. Just become, let's go some major, minor, major, minor. And I think this is the one. And I'm just going to do this for a second. We're going to get right out of this. I'm just going to show you this. This is A minor. Let's see how our track goes.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I don't like that. I mean, it's cool, but it's not friend-inducing. Let's see what this G minor one does. So I would start this on the 3rd fret.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
There we go. That's just a little bit more normal sound. Oh, you hear that? That's G minor, G minor. So here, if I wanted to play in this pattern, I have this scale without doing anything. And that would go for, in my vast audience, trying to keep things spread out and not just focus on the guitar or the bass or the guitar or the saxophone or certain, So anyway, the guitar would have, instead of 4 strings, 6 strings. Pattern would be longer. But the 6th major pattern, starting on the note you want to start on, the Dorian key you want to start on, that's what you would use, is the second major pattern on the guitar, on the bass, would produce instantly Dorian minor. Okay, now let's see. I have really not time for another question. Oh, okay. All right, well, I think I'm going to stick to my time guns there. And so let's just see. So let's just see if I've caught everything. That doesn't look right. Oh, there we go. Okay, so that is the only other question I had today. That we've covered all the questions I had today. All right, so let's see. So again, let's end this and let me say. So I'm Mark Black. This is Mark Teaches Music. This live stream on Wednesdays at 7 o'clock is called To Play and Sing. And the idea is to answer all your questions about singing and playing everything that I can answer. So if you want more information about lessons, email me. Nah, don't email me. Go to www.dallasmusiclessons.com. If you got questions, email me now at mark@dallasmusiclessons.com. And as always, until I see you again, I want you to have fun and I want you to be awesome. And I can do this. Watch.